BR Walkoff has the New York Mets acquiring a former superstar out of the American League who plays center field. We'll get into it next on MetCast. What's going on, Met fans? Welcome back to MetCast. As always, I am Rain. If you enjoy our channel, we just ask you to like and subscribe. It helps support the channel. But we got some of the latest in regard to BR Walkoff, who is throwing out a lot of trade proposals today. But this one, maybe it's not too bad when you really think about it. They have the New York Mets trading for Luis Roberts, the center fielder from the White Sox, for Ronnie Mauricio. And I know a lot of people are going to look at his stats, which we'll take a look at in a second, as of last year, which, let's be honest, were not that good. But when you look at it from the Mets perspective, he is kind of that buy low candidate that would be a David Stearns type player. I mean, you look at a guy like Ronnie Mauricio, who primarily would probably play second or third for the New York Mets, is pretty much blocked from coming up here. Dan and I spoke earlier about a lot of our prospects are kind of blocked. Think about how many guys we have. Vientos is solidified at third. It looks like the Alonso situation is going to get handled at first base. Lindor at short. Then you have probably Jet Williams, Acuna, McNeil, potentially Jose Iglesias, all for that second base position. And the New York Mets already have Tyron Taylor and Jose Siri in center field. I know they're looking to acquire another outfield bat. They tried to get Teoscar Hernandez on a 2-year contract with the same AAV that he ended up getting from the Dodgers, but he wanted to go home for the Dodgers. So let's take a look at his stats from last year, and I'm going to tell you why this trade is not as bad as you initially probably thought. So here are Luis Roberts' stats over the last few years. And yes, as you can see, last year he had that down year, that 657, that abysmal OPS over 393 at bats. But let's not forget, he's also playing for the White Sox. But if we're going to be honest with ourselves, going into his age 27 season, he'd be that perfect buy low guy. Let's look at his 2023 season. I mean, it speaks for itself. 264, 38 home runs, 80 RBIs with an 857 OPS. Very, very good. All-star caliber, possibly even higher than that. And then you go throughout his career, 764 OPS in 22 in 401 at-bats, and then 946 and 296 at-bats at age 23. So he's kind of been that up and down, but usually guys, their prime's probably 27 to 32, 27 to 33. So he may just be entering his prime. He's a typical buy low candidate for the New York Mets. And to be honest with you, you stick him in our current lineup, I would have no doubt that maybe not he's not going to return to that almost that mid 850 OPS, but could he have an 800 OPS? I absolutely think that he could. He's under a reasonable contract. Let's take a look at that contract right now. So here's Luis Roberts' contract for the next several years, and it's really not that bad when you think about it. He's due to make $15 million this year, which is not a lot of money in today's MLB. Let's be honest. You got guys like Frankie Montas who have a ton to prove, making a couple more $1 million than that. Then he's got club options for 26 and 27 at $20 million a piece, which is not that bad. It's pretty much what Brandon Nimmo is getting. So if you trade a guy like Ronnie Mauricio, who doesn't really have a spot on this current team, and you look at the future, if it doesn't work out, you could always opt out of those last couple of years or the last year and move on from that. So it's almost like a win-win situation. I love Ronnie Mauricio just like the next guy, but if we're being honest here, there's not really a spot for him. I don't see them moving him to the outfield. They're already trying to put Brett Beatty at second base too. I forgot to mention him. Maybe in left field, you see guys like Drew Gilbert, who are 24 years old. They are ready to come up right this minute. So that tells you right there that they just simply don't have the room for a guy like Ronnie Mauricio. If I'm the Mets, I probably do pull a trigger on a trade like this, because what it allows us to do is you trade for a guy like Luis Roberts. Yes, you're out in Ronnie Mauricio, but you didn't give up an absolute ton. You still have plenty of ammunition to go out there into the market to get a high-end pitcher. And that's what brings me to my next point. I am very certain, not I want to say certain, but very confident in saying Roki Sasaki will be a Los Angeles Dodger. The Dodgers made two moves in regard to their international free agents today, supposedly freeing up $2 million in pool money, allowing them to give him about $6 million. They had two prospects, one that was supposed to make well over $1 million in a signing bonus, and they just gave them away, which tells me they know something because teams don't just do that. You don't just give away money that you already had designated to prospects. So it tells me Roki Sasaki is more than likely going to be a Los Angeles Dodger. The Mets are going to have to pivot. This is going to be where David Stearns is supposed to shine. He's supposed to be a great guy when it comes to trades. He traded guys like Josh Hader in the past, so he's got plenty of experience. And I expect him to go out there and either land a guy like Luis Roberts or not, if better, in free agency or via trade and bring in a front end starter. Let me know what you guys think down below. What do you think about that potential trade? Ronnie Mauricio for straight up for Luis Roberts. It might even take a little more than that because I could see other teams getting involved, especially with him only being due $40 million after this up and coming season. So you pretty much have him on a 3-year, $65 million contract, but you have outs. So if you bring back Pete Alonso on a 3-year deal, you might have outs in that as well. So it's a win-win for the Mets in my perspective. I like Luis Roberts. I think all the intangibles are there. You surround him with great hitters like Juan Soto, Pete Alonso, Mark Vientos, Francisco Lindor, Brandon Nimmo, potentially Alvarez. And this has the makings for a very dangerous lineup when it comes throughout MLB. Again, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. And if you haven't already, please smash that like button, share this show with a friend, and give us a subscribe. It very much helps the channel as we bring you guys more and more content. And as things come in, hopefully this Pete Alonso news gets done fairly certain and very shortly. Let's be honest. We all want this Pete Alonso stuff to be over with because we want to see what David Stearns is really made of. He talked about it early on in the offseason. He is more than open to trading. The Mets are very heavy in top prospects that are supposed to be coming up shortly. So I expect some of them to get dealt. And let's be honest, David Stearns didn't draft any of these guys. So I really think that there's a potential for a lot of them to get dealt. And we'll see what happens. But we'll be sure to bring you all the news coming up. Excuse me. And until next time, take care.